The warning sirens had been going off for 3 days, straight across every planet in the Galactic Federation. Trillions of beings from 1,000 different species looked up at their skies and saw the same terrifying sight. A massive crack was spreading across the fabric of space itself. The universe was breaking apart. On the planet Nexus Prime, the Grand Meeting Hall of the Federation was filled with the most brilliant minds from every corner of known space. Tall blue Vortani scientists stood next to small gray Calyx mathematicians. Floating Etherean philosophers hovered above crystalline silicoid engineers. They had all come together because they had no choice. The end was coming, and nobody knew how to stop it. High Commander Zeleth, a powerful Vortani leader with deep purple skin and 4 arms, slammed his fist on the ancient stone table. "We have tried everything," he said with frustration clear in his voice. "Our best energy collectors cannot gather enough power. The Calyx dimensional anchors have all failed. The Etherean mind bridges cannot hold the rift closed. We are out of options." A young silicoid named Krista raised her hand. Her body was made of living crystal that glowed with inner light. "What about the humans?" she asked in her musical voice. "They have not spoken yet." A wave of uncomfortable silence swept through the hall. The humans, Earth, that small blue planet on the edge of nowhere. They had only joined the Federation 50 years ago, barely a blink in galactic time. Most of the older species still thought of them as primitive newcomers who had barely learned to travel between stars. Commander Zeleth let out a long breath. "The humans are welcome to share their thoughts, but I doubt they can offer much help here. This crisis requires technology far beyond what their civilization has developed." From the back of the hall, a human woman stood up. She was average height for her species, with dark skin and hair that was streaked with gray. Her name was Dr. Amara Okonkwo, and she led Earth's Cosmic Research Institute. Her eyes were calm but intense. "Commander," she said in a clear voice that carried through the entire hall, "with all respect, I believe we can help. In fact, I believe we may be the only ones who can." Laughter rippled through parts of the crowd. A Calyx scientist named Threx clicked his mandibles in what passed for a smile among his kind. "And what exactly do humans know about cosmic energy manipulation? Your species was still burning dead plants for warmth when we had already mapped the quantum structure of reality." Dr. Okonkwo smiled softly. "That is exactly my point," she replied. "We burned dead plants. We burned coal. We burned oil. We burned atoms. We have always been a species that masters fire." She walked toward the center of the hall, pulling out a small device from her pocket. With a press of a button, a holographic display appeared in the air above them all. It showed something that made every scientist in the room gasp. "For the past 30 years, Dr. Okonkwo continued, ever since we learned about the existence of cosmic background radiation, we have been working on a secret project. We call it Primeval Fire. It is a system designed to capture and harness the leftover energy from the birth of the universe itself." High Commander Zeleth leaned forward, his forearms gripping the table. "That is impossible. The cosmic background radiation is too diffuse, too spread out. The energy density is almost nothing." "It is spread out now," Dr. Okonkwo agreed. "But what if you could reach back? What if you could tap into that energy not as it exists now, but as it existed then? At the moment of creation, when the entire universe was smaller than a single atom and hotter than anything that has ever existed since." The Etherean philosopher mist drifted closer, her form shifting like smoke in wind. "You speak of temporal energy harvesting. That requires punching through the walls of time itself. The theoretical power needed would be exactly what we have," Dr. Okonkwo finished. She pointed to a structure in the hologram. It was a massive ring, hundreds of kilometers across, floating in the dark space between galaxies. "We built this in secret. We had to. If anyone knew what we were attempting, they would have tried to stop us. They would have said it was too dangerous, too impossible, too foolish. And were they wrong? Threx demanded. Have you actually tested this machine? Dr. Okonkwo turned to face him directly, 12 times. Each time we have successfully drawn energy from the primordial fires of creation. Each time we have learned more about how to control it. We kept it secret because we wanted to understand it fully before sharing it with the galaxy. She paused and looked around at all the assembled beings. But now the galaxy needs it. The crack in space that is spreading across the universe is caused by an energy imbalance in the fundamental structure of reality. To fix it, we need to inject an enormous amount of energy in exactly the right places. More energy than all the stars in the galaxy produce in 1,000 years. The primeval fire can provide that energy. The room erupted into chaos. Scientists shouted questions. Politicians demanded explanations. Military commanders worried about what such a weapon could do in the wrong hands. Through it all, Dr. Okonkwo stood calm and still, waiting for the storm to pass. Finally, High Commander Zeleth raised all 4 of his arms for silence. When the room was quiet again, he spoke slowly and carefully. Dr. Okonkwo, you are asking us to trust humans with the fate of the entire galaxy. You are asking us to believe that your young species has somehow developed technology that makes everything we have look like children's toys. Why should we believe any of this? Dr. Okonkwo nodded as if she had expected this question. Because you have no other choice. Because in 3 days, according to my calculations, the rift will grow too large to ever be closed. Because every second we spend debating is a second closer to the death of everything we know and love. She paused and let her words sink in. And because this is what humans do. We face the impossible. We stare into the darkness. And we make fire. The silence that followed was heavier than any gravity well. Then, slowly, Krista the Silicoid began to clap her crystal hands together. The sound rang through the hall like bells. Others joined in. Even Threx, after a long moment of hesitation, brought his claws together in grudging applause. High Commander Zeleth stood up and walked around the table to face Dr. Okonkwo. He extended one of his right hands. "Show us," he said simply. "Show us this fire of yours." Dr. Okonkwo shook his hand firmly. "Prepare your fastest ships. We leave immediately. The Primeval fire station is 12 hours away at maximum speed, and we have no time to waste." As the assembled leaders rushed to make preparations, Dr. Okonkwo allowed herself a small moment of worry. The truth was that they had never attempted anything close to what she was proposing. The tests had been small, careful, controlled. What they needed to do now was like the difference between lighting a candle and igniting a sun. But she had not lied. Humans had always been masters of fire. They had tamed every flame they had ever encountered. This would be no different. It could not be, because if it was, there would be nothing left of anyone to mourn the failure. The journey to the Primeval fire station took 11 hours and 42 minutes. The fleet of ships that followed Dr. Okonkwo was the largest gathering of vessels the galaxy had ever seen. Representatives from every member species of the Federation had insisted on being present. If the universe was going to be saved or destroyed, they wanted to witness it firsthand. When they arrived, even the most skeptical aliens fell silent in awe. The station was a ring of pure silver metal that stretched across the darkness of intergalactic space. At its center was a sphere of swirling colors that seemed to contain every shade that had ever existed. It pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat, and with each pulse, reality itself seemed to bend slightly around it. That sphere, Dr. Okonkwo explained as their ships approached, is a contained sample of the primordial energy. It is only a tiny fraction of what we can draw upon, but it serves as our anchor point. Think of it as a fishing line that we have cast back through time itself. When we need power, we simply pull on the line. High Commander Zeleth stood beside her on the bridge of the flagship. "And you believe you can pull enough power to heal the rift in space?" "I do not believe it," Dr. Okonkwo replied. "I know it. The math is certain." The only question is whether our equipment can handle the stress of channeling that much energy. She turned to face him directly. Commander, I must be honest with you. There is a real chance that the station will be destroyed in this attempt. There is a real chance that everyone on board will die. And if we do nothing, then everyone everywhere dies. Not just the people on this station. Not just the Federation. Everything. Every star. Every planet. Every atom of matter in the entire universe will be torn apart when the rift expands beyond control. Zeleth nodded slowly. Then we have no choice. What do you need from us? Dr. Okonkwo pulled up another holographic display. It showed the crack in space, which had now grown to stretch across 3 entire star systems. The rift needs to be sealed from multiple points simultaneously. I need your ships to take up positions at these 12 locations. She highlighted points on the map. Each ship will receive a beam of primordial energy from the station. Your job is to focus that energy onto the exact points of the rift that I designate. Our ships were not designed for this, Zeleth said with concern. The energy levels you are describing would overload every system we have. I know. That is why my engineering teams have prepared modifications for your vessels. We have adapters that will allow your ships to channel the energy safely. She paused. Well, relatively safely. There is still significant risk. Krista the Silicoid stepped forward. A crystalline body caught the light of the primordial sphere and scattered it into rainbows. I will go, she said firmly. My people believe in the light. If there is a chance to save the universe, I want to be part of it. One by one, volunteers from every species came forward. The Vortani, the Kelix, the Etherians, beings from worlds that had been enemies for centuries, stood together and pledged to work as one. Dr. Okonkwo watched them with tears forming in her eyes. This was what she had always hoped humanity could bring to the galaxy. Not just technology or power, but the courage to face impossible odds and the willingness to sacrifice everything for others. Within 2 hours, the fleet was in position. 12 ships hung in space around the expanding rift, their crews nervous but determined. On the Primeval fire station, Dr. Okonkwo took her place at the main control console. Around her were the best and brightest of humanity's scientists, the team that had spent 3 decades building this impossible machine. All stations report ready, her assistant Marcus called out. He was young, barely 30 years old, but he had been working on this project since he was a child, learning from his parents who had been part of the original team. Dr. Okonkwo took a deep breath. Begin energy collection sequence, she ordered. The station hummed as power flowed through its systems. The sphere at its center began to spin faster and faster. Colors that had no names in any language swirled and merged and separated. The temperature readings on every instrument began to climb. Energy collection at 50%, Marcus reported. The temporal conduit is stable. Outside the station, the watching fleet could see the ring beginning to glow. First it was silver, then gold, then white, then colors that hurt to look at directly. The primordial fire was waking up. 70%, 80, 90. Warning alarms began to sound. The station shook as energies beyond comprehension flowed through its structure. Dr. Okonkwo gripped her console and refused to look away from the readouts. 100% capacity. Doctor, the station cannot hold much more. It has to, she said through gritted teeth. Increase to 150%. Redirect all non-essential power to structural integrity. The lights dimmed. Life support dropped to minimum. Every joule of energy the station produced went into containing the fire that was now burning at its heart. 150%. 175. 200. The sphere at the center of the station was no longer a sphere. It was a tear in reality, a window into the moment of creation, a glimpse of the fire that had given birth to everything. And through that window, the power of the Big Bang itself was flowing. Now, Dr. Okonkwo commanded, distribute energy to the fleet. Begin sealing sequence. 12 beams of pure light shot out from the station, each one connecting to a ship in the fleet. The crews aboard those vessels felt the power flow through them, felt themselves become conduits for the most ancient fire in existence. Some screamed, some laughed, some wept, but all of them held their positions and directed the energy exactly where Dr. Okonkwo told them. The rift in space stopped expanding. Then, slowly, impossibly, it began to shrink. The tear in the fabric of reality was being healed, stitched together by the same energy that had created it in the first place. Fire against fire. The ultimate battle and the ultimate medicine all in one. "It is working," Marcus shouted. "The rift is closing." "We are doing it." But Dr. Okonkwo did not celebrate yet. She watched her instruments with fierce concentration. The station was shaking harder now. Metal groaned. Systems failed. They were holding together by willpower and hope as much as by engineering. "Just a little more," she whispered. Just a little more. The rift continued to shrink. What had been light years across was now mere astronomical units, then millions of kilometers, then thousands, then hundreds. Then the rift vanished. Space healed. The universe, for the first time in weeks, was whole again. Dr. Okonkwo immediately cut the power. The beams of light faded. The sphere at the center of the station slowly returned to its normal size and color. The shaking stopped. The alarms fell silent. For a long moment, nobody moved. Nobody spoke. Then the communication channels erupted with cheering from every ship in the fleet. Every species, every world, every being that had watched this moment celebrated as one. They had faced the end of everything, and they had won. On the bridge of the flagship, High Commander Zeleth looked at the screen showing Dr. Okonkwo and her crew. The human woman was laughing and crying at the same time, hugging her colleagues, sharing a moment of pure joy and relief. "Dr. Okonkwo," Zeleth said, his voice carrying across the channel, "on behalf of the Galactic Federation and every living being in the universe, I thank you. What you have done today, there are no words." Dr. Okonkwo wiped her eyes and faced the camera. "We did it together, Commander. Humans may have built the fire, but every species here helped us aim it. This was a victory for all of us." Thrax the Calyx appeared on another channel. His mandibles clicked in the pattern that indicated deep respect. "I owe you an apology," he said. "I underestimated your people. I thought you were too young, too primitive. I was wrong. Humans are not primitive. You are simply different. You think in ways we cannot. You dare what we would never attempt." Perhaps that is exactly what the galaxy needed. Dr. Okonkwo smiled. "We learned a long time ago that the darkness is vast and the cold is endless. But fire keeps us warm. Fire keeps us safe. Fire reminds us that no matter how big the universe is, we are not helpless within it. We can shape it. We can change it. We can save it." She paused and looked out at the stars that were still shining because of what they had done. "That is what it means to be human. We carry fire wherever we go." In the years that followed, the story of the primeval fire spread to every corner of the galaxy. It became a legend, then a myth, then a fundamental truth that every child learned. When the universe was in danger, it was the humans who saved it. Not with weapons or conquest, but with their ancient gift, their primeval talent, their eternal companion, fire. The same fire that had warmed their caves and lit their way through the darkness of a small blue planet on the edge of nowhere. The same fire that burned in their hearts and drove them to reach for the stars. Humanity had brought fire to the galaxy, and the galaxy would never be the same.